Any problem? So the title of the talk is having fun when analyzing mobile application. What I'm gonna try to cover is because it's gonna be a brief presentation, is the different tools that you can use to analyze Android and mainly iOS application. But at the end, I'm gonna focus mostly on Frida. I don't know if you know about Frida framework, but for me, in my opinion, is the most powerful at the time to analyze any kind of mobile application. So we are going to focus on that at the end. This is my presentation. My name is Alvaro. Currently, I work in an NCC group. I do a lot of the things. I enjoy, for example, doing code review, vulnerability research, fuzzing. I do mobile application, and also I'm part of Radar 2 core team. So you're going to see a little bit of Radar today. And there you have my Twitter in case you want to ask anything. So just go there. We are in stand number 3 for control. Is the division of NCC group in case you want to ask anything related with the talk or whatever. So just go there. So let's get started. So what is the importance of mobile applications? I mean, basically we do everything through a mobile, from booking taxi, flights, check your bank account details, for everything. So whether we like it or not, I think the mobile applications are running our lives in every detail, and every time I think it's getting bigger. And it's something that companies are paying more attention, and they are investing more in order to secure the different mobile applications. And it's something that, for example, in NCC Group, we do a lot of things on mobile application, and probably 5 years ago, it was mostly web applications instead of mobiles, okay? So what is the different platforms and tools? I think that nowadays, the only 2 platforms that matter are iOS and Android. You might find, for example, some Windows Phone. I don't know if anyone here has that platform, but I think that the 100% of here is either iOS or Android. So we are going to make a little overview of those platforms, the different tools available. Mainly, I'm going to focus on open source tools because I kind of like use open source instead of license to one. So let's go to Android. For me, the philosophy of Android is more open, for example, than iOS. So you have the kernel, the whole ecosystem is open. You can even unlock the bootloader. You can compile your own kernel. And on top of that, the applications are not running natively, so they are running on a Java virtual machine that has been tailored for mobile devices. His name is Dalvik. And I think that all of that make analyzing Android application much easier than iOS, because I think that there is more documentation, there are more tools available to do Android application assessments, and that's what I think is easier, okay? So which are the tools that we have for Android mobile applications? So I made a division from the static analysis and dynamic analysis. I'm going to start first with dynamic analysis. Frida, we are going to see at the end the capabilities of Frida. R2 Frida is a plugin of Radar for Frida to interact with Frida that allows you to, for example, search on memory. So if you are going to try, for example, your application is storing some password that should be more sensitive, might be stored in a keychain or something that is encrypted, you can use every Frida in order to find that string quite easily. It's just very straightforward. Expose is like the same as Frida, but it's like a Java. It's written in Java. There are a ton of different modules written for Expose. But the more that I recommend is the ins package. Ins package is kind of, you install in your device and you select the application that you are interested, and it's going to log all the activity from that application. So it's going to give you a lot of information about what the application is doing, and sometimes it's throw important info for your report. And the last one that I'm going to talk is Drosser. Drosser is good because test the application interact with the application as any application in your device will do, through the different export APIs or export APIs of your application. So it's not like you need a root device. It's interacting with the different activities or broadcast receiver that your application is exposing, and you can use Drosser for that. Okay. So for the static analysis, you have APK tool. And normally the workflow with APK tool is you decompile application, so you can change everything from it. You compile again, shine the application you need to align in order to be run, and you can deploy the application. The scenario in this case is, for example, your application at the time of establishing a secure connection, it's checking against a specific certificate. And in order, in 4 days, you have 4 days to analyze the application, you need to bypass this, because otherwise you might not see the traffic the application is exchanging with the server. So you resort to APK tool, you decompile, you change that certificate, you change something in the logic of the application, and then you can deploy the application and everything's work underneath, okay? Then we have Radar 2 support Android applications, but the disassembly that you're gonna get is the SMALI. SMALI is the low-level representation of the bytecode that is running in the Java virtual machine, and it's not quite nice, as you can see here. So if you are not familiar with SMALI, it might be a challenge at first. So that is why you have this application that you throw the Android application and you get the Java code of the application. This is the compiled version. So it must be easier. At the end, you are gonna read Java code, okay? And that is pretty much the tools I use when I do Android applications. All that has been described. So if you're gonna try it, go for it. So let's go to iOS. For me, iOS, as in contrary with Android, is more closed platform. Everything is not that well documented, in my opinion. And the application runs natively. So do you need a bit of knowledge of ARM in order to understand a bit when you are doing reverse engineered application. And also the applications in iOS are written in Objective-C, and a new language is Swift that Apple made. And so you have to be familiar with the runtime of the Objective-C, because when you are reversing engineered application, you need to understand how things work underneath, how things get referenced, and it might be trickier if you are not familiar with Objective-C at first, okay? So I'm going to show you later a script that I made for Radar that is going to allow you to find those references quite easily, and you don't need to know every detail of the Objective-C runtime. So which are the tools? Again, the static analysis, dynamic analysis. H2 Frida is the same as I said before. You have a Cycrit. It's like the same as Frida, but it's using a different framework, but I don't know if it is longer maintained. Cycrit was created for Saurik. Saurik is the guy that makes Cydia. If you have a jailbroken iOS device, probably you know that application. For the static analysis, again, here we have Radar 2 that is free. It's open source, obviously. And then you have different options by licenses, like Hopper, IDA Pro. And if you don't like Radar for whatever reason, I will recommend Hopper, because Hopper is very specific for iOS application, and it has an interface. People normally, the command line gets scared at first. So Hopper has a nice interface. It supports iOS application very well. So I recommend Hopper over IDA Pro for iOS applications. Well, this slide is more for reference for the different commands that I'm going to execute later, okay, when I share this slide with the organization. Let's talk about Frida very quickly. Frida, above all, is a powerful framework that is going to allow you to write JavaScript scripts that you're going to insert in your process. So you can hook up different functions, methods, you can change returns values. Basically, you can interact with applications very easily, okay? And another advantage that I see with Frida is that you don't need to have a device jailbroken. You can embed a library. His name is Frida GetGet, and you can instrument the application without the need of having a jailbroken device. So in the below URL, there is a blog post that a coworker, his name is Adrian Villa, wrote about the process that you have to follow to embed this library within the application. So it's very useful when, for example, you have to test an application in an iOS version that doesn't have any jailbreak. So you just follow that process, and you can instrument the application in a device from the store. One of the tools that I'm going to present that I made for is started as an internal project, but is starting to improve over time, and is, as I said before, Frida, apart from a tool, is also a framework, which means that you can use it for your own tools. And after for a while, I decided, okay, I'm using a lot of Frida scripts, so when I need to have something that centralizes everything, I can reuse the scripts. I want to be able to log all the interaction of the application, and that is why I made this tool that I'm going to present now in a demo. So let me introduce you. I'm going to shift. Okay. So for example, if you go to this application, we are going to show cases. This I don't know if you know these applications. Whoops. Let's close it. This application is done in vulnerable iOS app. So if you want to play with iOS applications, I recommend it because you have all the different sets that you need to bypass. So you can use different methods, Frida, static analysis to bypass all these challenges. So okay, so we are gonna try to bypass this check. The application is period. So yeah, at first let's go to the static analysis part. So we have this is the iOS applications. At the end is nothing more than a zip file. So let's go to unzip. The interested part is in payload up, and this is the binary. Okay. Radar2 has running this command that allows you to unpack the binary, because in Apple has a file format. Its name is FATMAC that embeds different binaries inside. So if we run this, it creates two files, one for ARM32 and one for ARM64. Okay. So let's go to that folder, and let's open the version 64. And this is where is ARM. So you will start reverse engineering the application, trying to understand the different mechanisms. But for example, I'm going to show you, if you go to the slides I showed you before, we are going to use these commands right now, okay? So let's go to this part. But I have, let me enable this one. You're going to see at the top left the difference command that I'm going to type right now, okay? So if we press underscore, we enter in the hood mode. And now we can type check for something like is period. And you can see there is a method. If I press enter, I go to the direction, I can start the, okay? Another command that Radar has that is quite useful is if you press lower B while you are in visual mode, you have browser stuff, and you have for flags, block, classes. So we're interested to share the different classes of this application. So if we press C, it's going to list the different classes, okay? It's parsing the file format file, and it's getting all the information. So as you recall, the isPeriod method belongs to this class. So we are interested, let's go to that class, it's this one. If you press enter, you're going to get the difference method of the application. And you press enter again, it's going to seek, it's going to seek to that direction. So that way, Radar should allow you easily to locate the different methods of the classes, and you can start understanding more the application. And if you run this script using R2Pipe, there's a way to interact with Radar2. Oops. This script will be released in the following weeks, so you can use it for iOS applications. And basically, this script is just parsing information within the file format to find reference. Okay. And it's found all this reference. So if, for example, we go to is the device jailbroken, it's found a reference. And if you press now lower X, you're going to see where it's calling. It's get called. And that way, you start digging the application, you begin to understand it. Okay? So yeah, let's move to the Frida part. It's the dynamically. Let's go here. Okay. Frida has something that is a very important tool. Is Frida Trace that allows you to trace everything from methods, fractions. It's quite useful. So let's use it to track if the application that we show in Radare actually gets called. Okay. So we are gonna grab the PID of this process. Is this one? With the dash upper EU, we are telling we're gonna trace from the device that is plugged in. We specify the pros ID. And we are gonna tell we are interested to trace from these classes. I want to trace is period method. Period. And it found one function. Okay. So if I press right now this button, you get it's printing that it's get a call. Okay, so I press again. You can see that obviously the method that I'm tracing right now is the responsible for this. So if you write a script for Frida that looks like this, to save a little bit of time, Frida provides you a handle for Objective-C below, so you can get handle for the classes, for the difference method. Here I'm just attaching to that method and just changing the return value to return 0. Okay. So let's go to executed this one. So the script has been loaded using Frida. If I press now the check, the application is not period. So we bypassed the check quite easily. I can define if maybe it's not defined that you define, but it's okay. So for me, all this process was a little tiresome. So that's why I decided to create a tool on top of Frida. Let me go to check on this. Okay. That allows me, for example, to check the different device that I have plugged in. So I can use, for example, the device, IOS devices. So I can list the different process. How I want to bypass the check. Let's go to search for process Debian. Is this one? I want to attach to it. And now we are in the process. Okay? So from now on, I can load different scripts to bypass pinings, jailbreak detections, whatever you can create with Frida. So we go, for example, to iOS, the jailbreak. We have the same script that I showed you before, and you can just do period JavaScript, and you can see the script has been loaded. So if now I bypass the check. Also, you can, for example, you can load, and the script is gone. Okay. If we move for the jailbreak detection, it says the jailbreak is broken. You have, for example, this script. The device not jailbroken. That easily. Okay. Also allow you to, for example, to attach to another devices. Now we are in the Android device that I have here. If I list process, it's going to lead the process from the Android device. Sorry. Let me, for example, to fire YouTube. Here we are. Attach this one. And now we are in the YouTube application for Android device. But I can work with both devices from the same application. You have different sessions. And now in the Android device, I can change, for example, to the iPhone. I can unload the script. Because it's quite common that when you are analyzing an application, the same company has an application for iOS and Android, and you probably have to access the same application at the same time. So this allows me to do it very quickly, very easily. Another cool thing about the Frida is that allow you to spawn application. So for example, if I spawn this application, it's detecting that the device is jailbroken. And imagine that after I press OK, the application closes. So how I'm supposed to test that if that's detecting jailbreak? So there is an option in the tool. Let me change the device because we are now in the iOS. I want to defer the jailbreak scripts. Let me find the application that I'm interested. It's got to go. I want to spawn that application. And is the spawned application, inject the script, and now we have bypassed the root detection, okay? Another thing that I introduced recently is that, as you can see here, the different scripts that I inject into the applications. There is one, there is an agent, and this agent is supporting remote procedures calls, so you can call it. So we enable this mode, set enable. If I do this, it's like it's in the device, in the iPhone. If I do data, it's taking me to the data from the application. I can move around, okay? Sorry, I mistaked that. The library, cookies. And the good thing is that I can get those files with get. Is save it in this direction, okay? We go assessment, we had cookies, binary cookies. So now you can analyze from your laptop. And all of this is just powered by Frida. I think that is the most, I would say, the most powerful framework for mobile application. If you didn't try, I will go for it. And I would say that this is pretty much the presentation, the demo that I want to show. The script that for that will be released as open source, obviously. For this tool is something that I'm thinking because I think that in summer there was a tool, whose name is Objection, that I kind of overlap with the functionality that I just saw. So I don't know if open source this tool or just introduce improvements of the Objections tool. So it's something that I need to think about it. But independently, one way or another will be open source, so you can use it, the scripts and the tool. So there will be any problem for that. That's it. So if you have any question or something. Has gone to the beer. Yeah.
Hey, thank you for your presentation. I realized you didn't show much utilities with Android, but you use it also with Android. Do you have something to help with obfuscation? I mean, not just ProGuard, but real hard obfuscation.
I think with obfuscation you need more time than the average. I mean, it's tricky. When you have an Android application obfuscated, is time consuming because you need to figure out everything. Maybe a Smalley can help, but yeah, it's a pain. When you have obfuscated application, not much help.
Okay, thank you very much. One more time.